We are talking the Giallo-inspired movie SEANCE. This one is directed and written by Simon Barrett and stars Suki Waterhouse, commonly confused with Suki Stackhouse, if you know where I'm going with that one, Madison Beatty and Inanna Sarkis. So this tells a story of an exclusive all-girls kind of academy, some type of further education, very exclusive, expensive, etc. And at the beginning of the movie, we see this kind of group of girls do some type of ritual, some seance to try and conjure the spirit of this girl who had died some years previously. And, you know, we kind of think it's silly girls messing around and it's a joke, but then one of the girls seemingly gets thrown out of a window. Cut to a short time later, we have a new girl turn up at the school to replace her, and she gets kind of embroiled with the kind of the same bunch, and they once again do a seance to try and contact the previous girl, the girl who flew out the window, and inevitably weird things start to happen. There seems to be mounting bodies that seem to be piling up. What will happen? You'll have to watch the movie to find out. So let's talk about what worked. Okay, so gotta say, this is a Giallo kind of style movie, as I've mentioned. So if you were a fan of Giallo style films, and I think you probably would enjoy this one, obviously a modern American kind of take on it, but nonetheless, it definitely has that kind of Giallo flavour all over it. It's definitely inspired by those type of films. I gotta say, I thought all the characters and the acting here were all pretty good. I kind of like enjoyed the performances. I mean, you could arguably say they're not the realistic characters, not, you know, necessarily, but I think for the roles that they, you know, were written to be, all the actors here, or actresses, did a great job of kind of making some sort of characters, some of which have kind of hidden depths, you know, and kind of things kind of going on slightly kind of below the surface. Some of them seem a little bit more stock characters, I have to say, but nonetheless, I thought all the acting here was, you know, was good to kind of, you know, bring these kind of characters to life and make them believable, at least in the context of the kind of the story itself. The movie kind of blends different types of horror elements into it. You know, we have the kind of the actual seance side of stuff, the kind of the supernatural. We have a kind of a ghostly element. There may well be a more corporeal element involved as well. And there's kind of like a mystery, kind of peeling back the layers as kind of goes on. And it kind of does it in typical kind of fashion, I would say, for these kind of films, about like somewhat of a, you know, who's kind of behind it, almost like a Scooby-Doo-esque style kind of situation, if you're less familiar with kind of the Giallo reference. So it's kind of quite a fun-paced movie. I quite enjoyed some of the kind of the setups here. I thought the location shooting on this kind of like this academy that they had for a setup was all quite good. What didn't I think worked? I think maybe it kind of falls into some typical kind of traps. I mean, there seems to be virtually no other students in this academy outside of the kind of the core group of people that we kind of see. There's one or two instances where we'll see a couple of extras walking around, but to be a real kind of, you know, place of education, you would have expected to see, you know, more students there, and we never kind of really see that, which is, you know, we have the popular clique, which is kind of this our group of characters, but, you know, how can you be the popular clique when there's no other characters seemingly there? There are some kind of silly moments within the movie, I think, both in regards to what actually happens on screen and also things that characters either do or say. I don't want to go into spoilers, but there are some kind of just sillier moments here. So I suppose, for me, if I had to kind of maybe poke a hole at it, there's some of the writing here is maybe a little bit kind of B-movie-esque and kind of a little bit, you know, could have been a little bit more depth. The end of the movie as well, as much as it was kind of fun, it goes into even sillier territory, I have to say, with kind of like things that happen in the movie. Again, I'm trying to avoid spoilers here. Things that happen, random occurrences, coincidences, things like that. Massive kind of like villain monologues, you know, it all ends up being somewhat cliche at times. So this movie seems to be, you know, quite well made, quite well acted, but doesn't really seem to be breaking any molds. It ends up kind of falling into some silly cliches or some kind of just silly conveniences and stuff like that to kind of get the plot along. It is a watchable film I did actually quite enjoy. I will actually say this is an above average movie for this type of level of film, but I don't think it's kind of going to break the mold in any type of way or kind of like be one that's fondly remembered necessarily. But it's certainly a good one-time watch. I would say that. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.